This is the incredibly sobering story of Harmony Montgomery, a 5-year-old girl who was murdered. She suffered from behavioral and developmental delays and was also blind in her right eye. Through a number of circumstances, her mother being into drugs, she spent most of her life in her short life in foster care. Early on, it was believed that she would have severe disabilities to the point where she couldn't see at all. But according to a Massachusetts child advocate, Maria Mercedes, I don't know how to say her name, Mercedes, she defied all odds. Maria Mercedes said that Harmony had very well developed language skills and that as she grew into a toddler, it was clear that although she had visual disabilities, she had developed superior coping mechanisms as well as a knack for overcoming challenges. Crystal Sorey, Harmony's biological mom, first lost custody of her daughter in Massachusetts in 2015 due to drug-related circumstances. The Department of Children and Families was awarded custody as a result. According to Harmony's Massachusetts Child Advocate report, she was removed from her mother's care on 3 separate occasions before she was finally put into a foster home. So Harmony was placed into a foster home in Haverhill. Harmony also had a brother, Jameson, who was adopted by Jonathan Bobbitt Miller and Blair Miller. You may recognize Blair Miller as a news anchor and national correspondent covering the White House and Capitol Hill. And as of last year, works for Atlanta News First. Jonathan said that Jameson asks about his sister often, and he said it's very difficult to answer his questions. He looks at us and says, "Why did my sister have to die? Why did someone have to hurt my sister?" This was from an interview on Greater Boston. Jonathan added that Harmony was the only stable person in her brother's life until he was adopted. Jameson was adopted the year that his sister died. This couple has remained in contact with Crystal Sorey, the biological mother. They were also asking about adopting Harmony because Jameson was having a difficult time being alone. Like, he would look for his sister on playgrounds and stuff. So they were trying to see if they could work something out. Unfortunately, the caseworker told them that Harmony had been placed in the custody of her father. Harmony was placed in the custody of her father in 2019. The Division of Children, Youth, and Families informed Crystal Sorey that Harmony had never been placed in school. So at Harmony's murder trial, Crystal testified that she had last talked to Harmony in April 2019 through FaceTime, and that for about a year, she had been trying to get in contact with Adam, Harmony's biological father, with Adam Montgomery to FaceTime with her daughter, and was unable to do so. So Crystal Sorey called the Manchester Police Department. This is in New Haven. She's in Massachusetts. She calls them in November of 2021 and tells them that she hasn't seen her daughter since 2019. So the police asked the Division of Children, Youth, and Families where Harmony was. And when they were unable to locate her, obviously police got involved and an investigation began. First up, they tried to locate Harmony's dad, Adam Montgomery. Police interviewed some family members, and it was very apparent very quickly, like immediately, that Adam was abusive to his daughter. Allegedly, in one instance, he gave her a black eye, and he told different family members different stories about how that happened. How she got the black eye were told to different family members. So that was obviously sketchy. He also, on one occasion, made her clean the toilet with her own toothbrush. Now, this is messed up for anyone to do, but remember, this is a 5-year-old disabled girl. He also made her stand in a corner for hours as a form of punishment. As it turns out, officials had actually requested more information on a home study of the situation in New Hampshire with Harmony's father before he was granted custody of his daughter. And the judge granted him custody anyway. So, despite this, it was ignored and Harmony was placed into the care of her piece of shit father. Adam was arrested by the Manchester police in January of 2022, and he was charged with the abuse of his daughter that had taken place in the summer of 2019. After his arrest, like a few days after, his estranged wife, so Kayla Montgomery, this would be Harmony's stepmom at the time, she was arrested on charges of welfare fraud. Those charges were related to Harmony because she had been cashing in food stamps for her daughter, even though they had told police that in November of 2019 that Harmony wasn't living with them anymore. These food stamps were specifically for Harmony. So why is she cashing them in 2022 if Harmony hasn't lived with them since November 2019? So the stories aren't adding up and it's very sketchy, and there's a young child missing. So Adam in January was charged with the alleged assault that happened against Harmony in 2019. Then a few months later, he is arrested for an unrelated weapons charge. So police believe that he stole an AR-15 and a 12-gauge shotgun from a home in Manchester, New Hampshire. Though the weapons charge is not connected to Harmony, it is how law enforcement discovered that she was dead. Police believe that these weapons were stolen in September, October of 2019, and that Harmony was murdered in December of 2019. That is the timeline that they have put together. So Adam's estranged wife / the stepmom of Harmony at the time, Kayla Montgomery, was charged with receiving stolen items that were taken in the commission of a theft. She was released from jail and she was ordered to continue with a substance abuse treatment, to not have any contact with Adam Montgomery, and also to check in with the police on a daily basis. She was also not allowed to leave the state of New Hampshire. So she's doing her program, trying to, get everything squared away, check all the boxes. But then she is arrested again in June of 2022 on perjury charges. There was a grand jury hearing in regards to Harmony being missing, and if that should move forward as a murder trial against Adam. And when Kayla is brought in for questioning in regards to the perjury, because she apparently had told the jury that she worked somewhere at the time, like her timeline was messed up. She lied about where she worked at the time that Harmony went missing. So they bring her back in for questioning on the perjury charges, and that is when she tells them that Adam murdered Harmony. So she tells police that information. 3 days later, she's released from jail on bail. And then a few months later in June, she is arrested again on a bench warrant because she fails to show up for court. And at this point, her bail is revoked. A few months after that, in November 2022, she pleads guilty to felony perjury. So she pled guilty, but she also got a plea deal in regards to Harmony's death. So this deal was that she would have to testify for the prosecution about Adam murdering his 5-year-old daughter. So she's on the witness stand, bawling her eyes out. Crying on the witness stand in the weapons case, she told jurors that her husband would take care of the kids while she was working at Dunkin' Donuts, and she would take over in the afternoon while we were using drugs, getting high, using heroin and crack. So she gets this plea deal, and then in October of 2022, Adam pleads not guilty on second-degree murder of his daughter, Harmony Montgomery, falsifying physical evidence, and abuse of a corpse. So Adam's saying he didn't do it. There's a lot of back and forth, and basically he's incarcerated and a number of different things are going on. He has separate trials. He has pled not guilty to murdering his 5-year-old. In June of 2023, he was found guilty of all 6 charges. This is 2 counts of being an armed career criminal, receiving stolen property, and theft. The judge gave him a very harsh sentence because it's not just the stolen guns and having the guns and whatnot, but there was a child in the house and he had these weapons within arm's reach of her. So the judge was pretty harsh, and good for her because this guy is a piece of shit. Judge Amy Messer said, "The stolen firearms in this case also had significant aggravated factors." So in August of 2023, Judge Amy Messer sentenced Adam to 15 to 30 years on each of the 2 charges of being an armed career criminal. So he's meant to serve these consecutively. And then for the theft charges, she gave him another 15 years, which he has to serve after that. So this is where it gets difficult. That concludes. Then the murder trial for Harmony Montgomery, that began February 8th of this year. So the prosecution tells the story of how he killed his daughter. So here's your warning, folks, because this is pretty brutal. Kayla also testified about the condition of the home in the weeks leading up before Adam killed Harmony. She had kids from a previous relationship, so it was her kids, Harmony, living in filth, surrounded by drugs and guns. She says it was just chaos in that house at the time. And she says that she didn't want the guns in the house. They were evicted from the home that they were living in. And Adam, Kayla, Harmony, and the 2 other boys were living in this sedan. So they moved into the car, and it was December 7th, 2019, that Adam hit and killed his 5-year-old disabled daughter. And the reason why he began hitting her was because she had wet herself, and this annoyed him. Kayla said that Adam was driving and he turned his body and delivered sets of 3 to 4 blows with a closed fist to Harmony's face and head on 3 separate occasions over the course of a few minutes. Kayla said that after he did this, that Adam admitted to her later, "I think I really hurt her this time. I did something." Kayla said that Harmony began moaning and that this went on for about 5 minutes. And then she stopped and no one checked on her. He is on the way to Burger King, so he goes through the drive-thru, orders his food, parks, and then eats his food. The prosecutor, Christopher Knowles, said he didn't show any concern for this innocent little girl, the child he had just beaten. He ordered his food and he ate. Like, they didn't check on her at all. This little 5-year-old girl sitting in the back of the car, like, no one sought medical attention for the disabled 5-year-old girl until shortly after noon. And that's when they realized that she wasn't even breathing. So as they moved around, they moved her body, like they kept it with them. So initially they put her body in the duffel bag in the trunk of the car, and then they moved to Kayla's mom's house and put that duffel bag in a cooler in the hallway. Then they left Kayla's mom's place and moved to a shelter, and they put the duffel bag in a vent in the bedroom, and it was like started leaking and it was smelling, and so Adam like put a trash bag around it so that it wouldn't leak everywhere. From the shelter, he put her body in a plastic storage container and like pushed it down the street to this apartment that they found. Then Adam noticed that it was leaking in the plastic container, so he took it out and then put another trash bag around it, and then they kept it in their refrigerator They kept it in their refrigerator. Kayla said that at some point, Adam removed the bag from the refrigerator and went into the bathroom for several hours and had the shower running. And then when he came out, it was in this like Catholic Medical Center maternity bag, which apparently was small. She said that Harmony's body wouldn't have been able to fit, quote, unless it was dismembered or grossly distorted. He then put that in their freezer. At this time, Adam was working at the Portland Pie Company, and he had Kayla take the bag out of the freezer and bring it to the pie company so he could put it in the freezer he could put it in the walk-in freezer at the place that he worked at. It was apparently at this restaurant for like a week, and then they brought it back home. One of his coworkers was questioned, and he said that he saw the duffel bag, but he didn't ask Adam about it. Like a week later, Adam took it home. Then after that, they rented a U-Haul so that they could move, and they kept it in the U-Haul. This friend of theirs named Travis Beach said that Adam was clearly like not okay. He was pacing back and forth, and he was like, man, I really effed up. And like he couldn't get him to tell him why, but he said that he figured, he's moving, and he'd been having issues with the Department of Child Family Services, so he figured it was something to do with that, and lo and behold, it just wasn't what he thought it was. It was way worse. His friend thought that they were moving, but Adam had in fact rented this U-Haul van to take Harmony's body and dispose of it. And he wouldn't allow Travis to talk to Kayla at all. And Travis said that he didn't get Adam didn't return the U-Haul. And he messaged him on Facebook asking what the deal was with that. And Adam responded, "Don't message me things like this anymore." So that's suspicious. In addition to the charge of second-degree murder and the death of Harmony Montgomery, Adam was also charged with assault, witness tampering, falsifying physical evidence, and abuse of a corpse. I hate this guy. He's disgusting. I have a hard time with stories about child abuse and animal abuse, and this guy is the worst of the worst. So the main issue is that Adam won't tell anybody where the body is. He's just flat out denying it. But a jury has found him guilty. So Crystal Sorey, as far as I know, she wasn't abusive to her daughter, aside from the fact that she was doing drugs. And I'm sure she feels an immense amount of guilt from having her child taken away from her and given to this monster. Yeah, so she's pissed that Kayla Montgomery was given a plea deal because Kayla was complicit in moving Harmony's body, like she knew about it. Crystal says, "I told them how I felt. This isn't fair. She was part of it. As far as I'm concerned, Kayla can rot. You want a round of applause because you finally did the right thing? She'll never get that from me." Crystal added that the whole plea deal and all of that Kayla got, it means she's doing it for herself so she can see the light of day, so she can one day be free. She's not doing it for Harmony. There were multiple times this woman could have stood up as a real woman and mother and done something. She did nothing. And speaking of Kayla Montgomery, on February 9th and 12th, she gave over 8 hours of testimony about this. When Kayla took the stand, she described Adam as having, after he killed Harmony, as having like this downward spiral of rage and paranoia. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse until it finally hit a wall. And obviously police started investigating to find out where Harmony is. Kayla said that after Adam killed Harmony, that all of that rage turned to her, and she was the one who ended up with the black eyes and getting beaten. She also said that his paranoia was so bad, he was like tearing up the house they were living in, looking for surveillance equipment. But yeah, Kayla had like both black eyes and her nose was messed up from him beating her face. Also, a friend of Kayla's testified about Adam's state of mind. Rebecca Maines. She was one of the final witnesses called for this case. Rebecca said that Adam told her that Harmony reminded him of her mother, Harmony's mother. And Rebecca asked him how he felt about that. And he said that he hated her. He hated his 5-year-old daughter. And she also said that in one instance, she witnessed him backhand her. Adam's story of this whole thing is, well, in the words of his defense attorney, Kayla Montgomery was the last person to see Harmony alive and to know how Harmony died. Adam is not an innocent here. He and Kayla covered up Montgomery's death, Harmony's death. Adam Montgomery did not kill Harmony. Crystal is completely broken by this. She was on the stand just sobbing about this. And about her daughter, she said Harmony was amazing, rambunctious, very smart. By the time she was 2, she could tell you her whole life story. So all in all, the prosecutor, Benjamin Agate, said that Adam killed his daughter because she was urinating in the van. That's why. He said all he had is his car and his rage and his fists. She doesn't get a headstone in the ground above the head that he battered. She doesn't get to be at peace in death because of what he did, because he can't afford to tell anyone where she is. Even though Adam denies that he killed his daughter and he didn't attend the trial, a jury found him guilty. So now he awaits sentencing. That is all for now. This story has a lot more to it. Go to murderpm.com and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Victoria Evans. Be safe out there. Go to murderpm.com/special to get 50% off on an annual subscription to Murder Pop magazine. This includes a copy of my ebook once it's out. murderpm.com/special for 50% off.